All right, welcome back to Workplace 30. We're continuing on section 1.2, which is the equation of a line. So you can look to example 2 on page 35, and we're talking about draining this swimming pool. So at 2:30, she starts the pump, and the depth of the water is 32 centimeters. So if we had to write this as an ordered pair, the time in minutes would be 0 because she hadn't started pumping yet, and the water depth is 32 centimeters. Then 45 minutes later, she measures the depth to be 11 centimeters. So what would be our new ordered pair? 45 and 11. Good. So it'd be 45 minutes and 11 centimeters. Now remember that your minutes then would be on your x-axis and your centimeters would be on your y-axis. We want to figure out if the pool will be empty before 4 o'clock, which is 90 minutes from 2:30. Okay, so we can start by first finding the rate. Now what's rate the same as? Slope. Good, so rate and slope. So let's start by finding slope. So m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Here, it doesn't matter again what we pick. Let's just go x1, y1, x2, y2. So our y2 value is 11. Our y1 value is 32. Our x2 value is 45. And our our x1 value is 0. So we get 11 minus 32 and 45 minus 0 to get negative 21 over 45, or in a decimal number is negative 0.467. So that would be your slope. Now again, if we're talking about rate, this would have a unit. So the units would be centimeters, because centimeters is your y value, and minute is your x value. So centimeters per minute is your unit. Okay, then the next thing we need to find to put it into our y equals mx plus b formula is the b value, which is also the y-intercept. So if, and I can just draw a little diagram, where would it reach, or where would it touch the y-axis? Any ideas? At 32, good, because here we have an x value of 0, so our y value would be 32. So our b is actually 32. So the second thing we need is that b equals 32. Now we can create a formula. So part 3, y equals mx plus b. So y equals negative 0.467, which is our slope, times our x value, plus b is 32. So that would be our equation. Then the fourth thing is they're asking us when the pool, or how long it will take for the pool to empty. So what should we plug in here? Okay, if the pool is empty, how deep is it? 0. So what do we want to plug 0 in for, y or x? Now remember, x is our minutes, so y is our depth. So we'll plug in, this is step number 4, plug in 0 for y, because that would be when the pool is 0 centimeters deep. So equals negative 467x plus 32. Again, you're going to move things around to find that x equals 68.5 minutes. So will that be done by 4 o'clock? Remember that 4 o'clock was actually 90 minutes away. So yes, it would be drained in time because it only takes us 68.5 minutes to drain it, and she started at 2:30, which is 90 minutes away from 4 o'clock when it has to be closed. So when could she start the pump in the future so that the pool is empty at exactly 4 o'clock? 68 minutes before 4 o'clock, which if we want to round it to a nice number, it would be about an hour and 10 minutes. So she could actually start at about 2:50 in the afternoon, just to ensure that she's got that extra minute and a half to get it done on time. All right, so in example 3, we're comparing two different temperatures, the maximum summertime temperature and the minimum winter temperature. So these could be looked at as two ordered pairs. The first ordered pair would be 32.6 and 90.68 because those are our summertime temperatures. The second ordered pair could be at negative 46 degrees Celsius and negative 50.8 degrees Fahrenheit. So here our Fahrenheit is our Y value and our Celsius is our X value. Now we want to figure out the linear equation, which is Y equals mx plus b. So the first thing we need to do here is find our slope. Now you might be a little short on room, so you might need to do this kind of on the side here at the bottom. But to find the slope, again, we have our formula, m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Our y2 value, let's say that this is y2 x2 and y1 x1. So our y2 value is negative 50.8. Our y1 value is 90.68. Our x2 value is negative 46. And our x1 value is 32.6. So you can type that all into your calculator and you should come out with a slope of 1.8. Okay, then the next thing we need in our equation is to find b, or our y-intercept. So if you have a point, which should be right here, we have a point, and we also have our slope, we can plug into our y equals mx plus b formula, 1 point, and our slope to find b. So let's take y1, which is 90.68. Our slope is 1.8. And our x value is 32.6 plus b. Now we're just going to isolate for b. So start with multiplication, move it to the other side, and you'll get b by itself. And you'll find that b should equal 32. So that is your second step. Now the third step, to actually determine your equation, we just plug this all into y equals mx plus b, this time with just the variables for y and x. So we get y equals 1.8x plus 32. If I were to rewrite this with Fahrenheit and Celsius instead of x and y, which would be my y variable? Fahrenheit or Celsius? Y is Fahrenheit, good, so I could rewrite this as F equals 1.8 times C plus 32, because C is my X variable and Fahrenheit is my Y variable. So next, let's look at what is the temperature in degrees Fahrenheit when it is 0 degrees Celsius. So now we want to plug in 0 degrees Celsius for C in our equation. So we'll go F equals 1.8 times 0 plus 32. 1.8 times 0 is just 0, so F will be 32, or your Fahrenheit is 32 degrees. Now, is there a temperature which your degrees Celsius is equal to your degrees Fahrenheit? So what we're looking at now is we want C to be equal to F. So if they're equal, we could actually put an F in where we have a C in our equation here. So we'd get F equals 1.8 times F plus 32, and then work to get our F by itself. So to get F by itself here, and this is a little bit trickier, so I'll do it with you. We'll move the F over. So we get F, which is just really a 1F, minus a 1.8F plus 32. Now the reason I have a 1F there is because if there's nothing in front of a variable, you can always assume that it's a 1 in front of the variable. So 1 minus 1.8 is negative 0.8F. Oh, and that's not a plus 32, sorry, that's equal 32. equals 32 divided by negative 0.8. And you should end up with F equals negative 40. So it's at negative 40 that both your Celsius and your Fahrenheit are the same temperature. Okay, so for example 4 on page 40, we have Annika who's deciding to choose between either a community center or a fitness club to work out. Now she knows that the community center is $8 per use. Remember that if you have something in dollars per use or dollars per day, that is a rate, and rate means slope. So your slope of your community center line or linear equation would be $8. What would your slope of your fitness center then be? Slope of your fitness center would be $2. Good. Now, the community center does not have a startup fee, so that means you'd start right at 0 on day 0. So your y-intercept would be 0. But for your fitness center, you start with $700 as your membership fee, so that would be your y-intercept of 700. Then if we want these to be equations, the equation for this one is y equals mx plus b, where m is 8 and b is 0. So really it's just y equals 8x. Then for your fitness center, y equals mx plus b again, where your m is 2 and your b is 700. So now we have two equations to work with throughout this example. So part B, if Annika uses the facility twice a week all year, which option would be less expensive? So first we need to figure out how many days she actually went. So if she went twice a week, how many weeks are in a year? 52. So 2 times 52 is she went 104 times. So that is that our x value or our y value? Your x value, good, because it's the number of times that's going to be multiplied by how much it costs per each time. So let's start by plugging it into the community one. So the community one is y equals 8x, or y equals 8 times 104. So our amount there is $832 if she would go twice a week all year. Then for the fitness center, which is y equals 2x plus 700, we're again going to plug in 104 for x, add 700, 2 times 104 plus 700 ends up being $908. So the cheaper option would still be to go to the community center. So now she's wondering, when would it be the same for both facilities? Now, if you look at these two equations that you have, they're both equal to y. So since they're both equal to y, we can actually say that they're equal to each other, since we're trying to find where they are equal. So if we take 8x and set it equal to 2x plus 700, we can do that because that's the equation for each line, and we're trying to see when they cross or where they're equal to each other. Now I want to move all the x's over, so I subtract 2x and subtract 2x. So I get 6x on this side, and I'm left with 700 on the other. Divide by 6. So I'm left with x equals about 117 days is when they would be the same amount. So anything more than 117, and she should probably go to the fitness center. Anything less than 117, and she should stay at the community center. So that would be your final answer as to when they're the same. All right, then you have a homework assignment, page 42, numbers 5 to 9. And there's a puzzle on page 45. Give that a try. You could use pennies, you could use coins, you could even just draw it out and try it with a partner. I think everybody so far in this class has somebody else to take it with, so try it with a partner. Now this lesson was brought to you by one of our students in our class in St. Brew.
Kelsey, you stay classy, other students.